I refused to let my incompetent sister ruin my late father's business, and now my mother is playing the victim. For most of my life, I had tried to keep the peace. I was raised in an environment where my opinions never seemed to hold much weight, where my feelings were brushed aside as insignificant. My mother had always made it clear who her favorite was: my younger sister, Lily. As for my older brother Ethan and me, we were merely afterthoughts in the grand scheme of our family's dynamic. It took years for me to realize that love shouldn't feel like a competition, but by the time I had, the damage was already done. I am 28 now, living in Denver and working as a marketing strategist for a thriving tech firm. My brother Ethan, who is 31, runs a digital publication that has started gaining traction. Life had finally begun to feel like my own, separate from the suffocating environment we grew up in. But despite our success, there was still an unspoken weight that followed us: our strained relationship with our mother and sister. For years, I had put up with the facade of family unity. I attended gatherings where I was ignored, participated in conversations where my input didn't matter, and endured moments where Lily was celebrated while Ethan and I were barely acknowledged. When I finally decided to cut them off, I thought it would bring me peace. Instead, it brought guilt. And that guilt threatened to consume me when my mother reached out, not to me, but to my fiancé, Noah. Noah received a message from my mother telling him that I had blocked her and Lily on every platform. She made sure to tell him how deeply disappointed she was in me. She claimed that since I had made my choice, she and Lily had decided to permanently cut me off as well. She hoped I was happy with what I had done, ending whatever little connection remained in our family. I felt my stomach twist as Noah showed me the message. Even after everything, their words still had the power to sting. Why was I being blamed for making a decision that was necessary for my well-being? Why did they act as though I had shattered something that had already been in pieces for years? At first I wasn't sure how to feel. But when I spoke to Ethan, he reminded me of what I had been ignoring. Our mother and Lily thrived on emotional manipulation. They weren't upset because they missed me. They were upset because they had lost control. Even Noah, who had initially felt bad for them, changed his perspective once Ethan explained the full extent of our strained history. Until now, Noah had only seen the version of my mother and sister that they wanted him to see. The polite, caring, affectionate family members who were so deeply hurt by my decision. He hadn't witnessed the years of favoritism, the belittling remarks, or the indifference that Ethan and I had endured. Once he saw the truth, his stance shifted. He told me that if his parents had ever treated him and his siblings the way mine had treated me, he would have walked away without hesitation. That was the moment I stopped feeling guilty. It was the moment I realized that my peace of mind was worth more than the approval of people who had never truly valued me. Ethan and I both decided to block them for good, and for the first time in years, it felt like we were free. A week passed without any contact. I had finally begun to breathe easy again. But then Ethan and I received an unexpected call from our uncle, Daniel. He was one of the few family members we still had a relationship with. After our father passed, Uncle Daniel had looked out for us like a second father figure. He wasn't the type to involve himself in drama unless it was truly necessary, so when he reached out, I knew something serious was happening. He told us that our mother was planning to transfer half of her company shares to Lily. While this alone didn't seem like a major issue, there was a bigger problem. She was also demanding that Lily be given voting power in the company. Uncle Daniel, who had been running the business ever since our father's passing, was deeply concerned. Lily had no business knowledge or leadership skills. If she gained the power to make decisions, it could spell disaster for the company that our father had worked so hard to build. At first, I didn't think it was our problem. After all, Ethan and I had made a conscious decision to stay out of the family business. But Uncle Daniel was desperate. He had always been there for us, and now he was asking us to be there for him. So, despite everything, We decided to confront our mother one last time. When we arrived at her apartment, Lily was there, as expected. I knew this conversation was going to be difficult, but I hadn't anticipated just how quickly it would turn into a battle. Our mother refused to listen, dismissing our concerns outright. Lily was quick to throw accusations at us, claiming that we were just jealous, that we had abandoned the company and had no right to interfere now. I could feel my frustration bubbling, but I forced myself to remain calm. I reminded my mother of our father's wishes, how he had specifically told us that Uncle Daniel was the only one he trusted to run the company. If she went against that now, she would be going against his legacy. For the first time since we arrived, our mother hesitated. But Lily wasn't about to let that happen. She continued to argue, turning the discussion into a full-blown fight. Eventually, our mother had enough. She told us to leave, saying she would think about it, but wanted nothing more to do with us. That was it. We had done our part. Whatever happened next was out of our control. 2 weeks later, we got our answer. Uncle Daniel informed us that after a lot of deliberation, our mother had decided against giving Lily voting rights. While Lily would still receive preferred shares, she wouldn't have any real influence in the company's operations. It wasn't a perfect outcome, but it was the best one we could have hoped for. Months passed, and life moved on. Ethan and I had completely cut contact with our mother and Lily, and for the first time in a long time, we felt truly happy. There were no more forced conversations, no more pretending that we were part of a family that had never truly existed. As for me, I had something even more exciting to look forward to: my wedding. In just a week, I would be marrying the love of my life, surrounded by the people who truly cared about me. Invitations had gone out a month ago, and unsurprisingly, my mother and Lily had not received one. I hadn't expected them to care, but apparently they did. When they found out that the rest of our relatives had been invited, they tried to convince people not to attend. It was almost laughable, watching them attempt to wield influence they no longer had. But their efforts were in vain. Nearly everyone ignored them. Meanwhile, Lily had moved in with our mother in a penthouse apartment she could never afford on her own. From what I heard, they had spun their situation into some kind of sob story, portraying Lily as the devoted daughter taking care of our poor, abandoned mother. It was ridiculous, but I no longer cared. Their drama was no longer my burden to bear. Ethan's publication was thriving, my career was on the rise, and I was about to marry the man of my dreams. Despite everything they had said, despite all their attempts to bring me down, my life was turning out better than I had ever imagined. So maybe in the end, I should be thanking them. Because if they hadn't shown me who they truly were, I might have never found the courage to walk away. And that, my friends, is how you truly win in life. If you've made it this far, you must have enjoyed the story. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss another one like it.